I've only worn a tuxedo once in my life. My friend, he had a wedding in another city. I was the best man, and so I sprung for a tux. I wore it for 2 days, the wedding rehearsal and then the wedding day. And after the first day, I was like, what's going on here? Because I felt so much more confident. People were treating me better. I was getting attention from people. Women were laughing at my jokes. I felt like James Bond. It was amazing. And I really think that, if you dress really nicely and you carry yourself in a classy way, it can be really good for you, your mental health, and your confidence. And today we're talking about my top 10. By the way, welcome to Sense of Style. My name is Stuart. I'm going over my top 10 classy fragrances you'd wear to a wedding. Maybe you won an award or something at work or at school. One thing, I have 15% of my viewers are between 18 to 24. They're going to need more modern fragrances, so I've got a couple of options for them, and I'll point them out when I talk about them. So anyway, let's get it started. The first fragrance I'm talking about here is the one I'm wearing today. This is Eau Sauvage by Christian Dior. Now, this was from 1966. This is actually, they use the name 50 years later, pretty much, Sauvage. But this is Eau Sauvage, not Dior Sauvage. And this is a beautiful summer fragrance. It does have some of the old school notes. 1966, carnation, oak moss were big, but not a lot of it. It is really a really beautiful, elegant citrus fragrance. Fragrances tend to use bergamot if they're going for a citrus feel. This has lemon instead. It's very lemony fresh, and it's just that's all it takes to be just a little bit different. But it's just the quality of it. Like this bottle, in the 60s or 70s, this is the kind of elegant bottle that I could imagine someone like Hugh Hefner or James Bond having on their dresser. Just an absolute gorgeous magnetic cap, beautiful summer fragrance. The next one is the only niche fragrance on the list. This is Aqua de Parma Colonia, and this fragrance, of all fragrances, has some real history to it. This is from 1916, so it's super old, but it was hugely popular in Hollywood in the 1930s and the 1950s. People like Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn wore this, so it is unisex. It smells similar to Eau Sauvage, but what this adds to the equation, though, is a little bit of a musky quality. But again, absolutely gorgeous citrus scent. And actually, to me, in many ways, this was one of the fragrances that started North Americans wearing fragrances. First, it started in Hollywood, and then, it just kind of caught on from there. But this is a classic, and it's perfect for summer. Now, for the 18 to 24 crowd, a really good summer fragrance or a warm weather fragrance, this is my pick. This is Aqua Digio Profumo. Now, I realize it's fairly popular fragrance, and you don't tend to think of it as super exclusive, but there's the incense note. This is a citrus aquatic, and it's the updated version of Aqua Digio. But in the summer, you don't really have to sort of go overboard when you're trying to be classy. And this has an incense note that takes the Aqua Digio to another level, makes it a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit darker. The one thing about this, though, that makes it special is this is a parfum. It's very hard for citrus aquatics to project much. But this is a parfum, so it's got very concentrated perfume oil. You will get 8 hours for this instead of 4 hours with other fragrances. It's not cheap. This is definitely a very nice, sophisticated. So I think for young guys especially, this will really fit the bill. Now, spring. Now this one, this one is an Hermes. Now, if you watch, I have another video where I talk about Terre d'Hermes, and I talk about what the essence of snobbery. The English have it, and all kinds of other. The biggest snobs in the world are the French, without question. This is the ultimate spring snob fragrance. This is called Eau de Narcisse Bleu, and it's not a blue fragrance, even though it's got blue in the name. This is actually a very green fragrance. This is a beautiful spring option if you're looking for something elegant and high class to wear, maybe a spring wedding, something that's very fresh, like even fresher than summer. Basically, a narcissus is a spring flower, so it's more green and it's more fresh than something that you're going to get later in the year. To me, the ultimate fragrance for a high class event, whether it's designer or niche, is this. This is Joram Parfum. This was designed specifically to be the ultimate classy fragrance. And this is very cold weather usually. Maybe you're going to be out of doors in the fall, a fall wedding kind of thing. It's hard to get, but you can get it now in North America. It kind of comes and goes. It's coming in spurts, which is nice. But this is a leather fragrance with a lot of iris and a very, very small resemblance to Joram Intense, but it's different. It's more of a leather fragrance. It's got some ambrette like Joram Intense, and it's got tons of iris, but this also has oud. The neat thing about this fragrance is when you wear it, it's the opposite of a linear fragrance. Normally you'll spray on a fragrance and pretty much what you smell in the opening, it doesn't change too much throughout. This, you get whiffs of oud at times. You get whiffs of leather. You get whiffs of iris. It's just constantly moving and changing. Super elegant fragrance. This is what I would wear as if I won an Oscar or something like that. I just absolutely adore this. If you're looking for a cool weather option that's a little bit more toned down, still very, very nice, this is L'Odyssée pour Homme Noir Ambre. This is also very difficult to get, although you can get it at the moment. What this is exactly what it says is. Noir means black, so it's dark, and ambre means amber. So this is a dark amber fragrance. It's actually very, very similar to Habdan by Parfum de Marly. And Habdan is, and this is sort of a darker version than what you're going to get with Leighton. Leighton is more sort of sweet apple, with some, white florals. It's happy-go-lucky. This is darker, a little bit more serious, and definitely more masculine than something like Leighton. But it's still plenty of apple, but instead of using like vanilla or tonka, this uses resins, things like myrrh, olibanum, so it's a darker, more resinous, richer fragrance. And also more masculine. So this is a really nice option for winter too. And it's not like this is still plenty classy, even though I kind of downplayed it a bit compared to Joram Parfum. Okay, so now we're going to get into 4 fragrances that you can wear pretty much most of the year. This is my option for cooler weather for the 18 to 24 crowd. This is Prada Lum. Now people talk about this being a really nice office fragrance, and it is. But I think 18 to 24, people are mostly wearing more sort of loud, brazen fragrances with not a lot of subtlety. To me, the ultimate subtle note for men is iris. And you put this on a 20-year-old guy, at a wedding or an awards ceremony in the winter, and this will be super elegant. This is hardcore iris. If somebody said to me, what's the #1 iris fragrance? It wouldn't be Dior Intense. It may be either Dior or this. And this is just loaded with iris. It's got a nice, subtle amber dry down. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I think anybody could wear this and come across as looking elegant. Actually, the most elegant and classy person probably in the fragrance community is a lady named Demi Rawling. She's from Australia. She obviously comes from money. She's very pretty. And she once said about Prada Lum, she goes, if I was dating a guy and he wore Prada Lum, she goes, I know that he knows what he's doing. He knows how to dress. He knows fragrances. He's not just picking up and I think that's always nice. If someone classy like that is aware of how good Prada Lum is, I think it'll work for you if you need it. Now, another Prada option that I think is really good all around, this is a Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. The Amber Pour Homme line is basically a resin called myrrh, which is dark, and saffron, which is brighter and more sparkly. Now, this is Prada Amber Pour Homme, the original. This is loaded with saffron, and it tones down the myrrh. So this to me is a better office fragrance. But if you're talking something more formal, the darkness of the myrrh in this, the more resinous. It was the same thing with Noir Ambre. There's a darker, more serious quality to it. This will work really, really well, if you're doing something in the winter or even in the summer. It's very sparkly. It's very, very, I don't know about fresh, but it's very resinous and definitely very classy. Okay, I mentioned Hermès before, and I couldn't leave this list without another example of French snobbery. This is Terre d'Hermès. And I know everyone thinks, again, they're thinking, office fragrance. The thing about fragrances like this, and Prada Lum, is the better you dress, the more this works. The more, I think Terre d'Hermès, everyone's like, it's an office fragrance. It's not going to work as well for somebody who's lower on the office totem pole. You put this on a CEO, the very minimalist vetiver, and, that little touch of orange, that burnt orange. This is going to be like, that sort of subtle power kind of dynamic. I think this would work fine outside the office for like a classy event, like a wedding. As I said, the better dressed you are, the better this is going to come across. And finally, we have kind of the father of classy fragrances, at least in the last 10 years or so. This is Bleu de Chanel, Eau de Toilette. This started the blue fragrance craze. Anything Chanel with decent performance, and this has it, is going to go over well any season, any time. This is the one where if you have any doubts, just wear this. You cannot go wrong with this, elegant citrus in the open and in the mid, and then the nice subtle woods in the dry down. You can't go wrong with Bleu de Chanel. Anyway, hope there's something on there for you, and hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, guys.